Deion Sanders in Colorado and Fran Brown in Syracuse have filed paperwork with the NCAA to get some joint spring practices going. I believe in Boulder. Fran Brown reached out to Coach Prime on Twitter saying that Syracuse would head out to Boulder for 3 days for a joint spring practice. Now, the NCAA currently does not allow joint spring practices to happen, and they're still dealing with the hurdles. They still have hurdles to clear in order to make this happen. But nonetheless, the process is getting closer, and closer. And I think this is a great thing for college football, especially in this NIL and transfer portal era. Coach Fred, before I get your thoughts on this, I want to show Coach Prime talking to the Colorado football team and reminding them to take this shit seriously because they could be facing an opponent on national television for spring ball. Take a listen.
These coaches busting their butts to try to get you in a spring game against somebody else, and you're going to go out here and give us some bull junk. Why would we want to work to put you on a national spotlight, a national showcase, have national television, national notoriety, and you don't want to work? Think about that. Because that's what I'm out here doing. I'm out here hustling for you because I want you to get the attention and the focus and the love and the appreciation and the spotlight that you all desire. You all want to be somebody. You want to be known. You want your followers up. You want to be popping. You want to be that guy. All of y'all want to do that, right? That's what we're trying to do for you. But if you go out there and don't work, you're going to make us look like a fool, and you're going to look like a fool on national television. Because that thing is getting close, right, Coach? Ms. Calhoun? This thing may very well happen. We may very well have spring practices and a spring game against another opponent. It may very well happen. It looks really good right now.
Woo, Coach Fred. Man, joint spring practices. I'm with it. What are your thoughts on Coach Prime's comments there and Syracuse and Colorado filing paperwork with the NCAA to achieve joint spring practices?
I mean, I'm a Prime guy, so I like I'm always into what he's got to say. But Bailey, I'm gonna throw it back to you. The NCAA can't let this happen.
And why do you say that?
They've let too much go. And if they let this happen, because this is a rule, this is something, that nobody's done. This is something that has been basically, I don't want to say forbidden, but forbidden. You let this go. You let the junior college ruling go. You let the transfer rule go. You let the NIL collective thing take off. At this point, if the NCAA allows that, and then you've granted multiple student athletes, I'm not even going to go 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, in one case, 9 years of eligibility. Right. Where does it stop? And I think at some point they've got to try to make a stand on all these waivers that they have allowed to enter into, be taken serious. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Bailey, I think it's a great idea, no doubt. But I can almost guarantee you if this happens, and then by the time that plane lands back in Syracuse, New York, and 3 of the best players on Syracuse go to the office and say, we are transferring, and they wind up in Colorado, what's going to be the issue there?
Damn. And I never thought of it from that perspective, Coach Fred. That's a great perspective and take there. And one thing I will highlight, I think coaches, I don't know, you can probably speak to this better than anybody, definitely better than myself. I think coaches across college football have been trying to do this for a really long time. I would guess. I think it's the NCAA who hasn't allowed this for so long. And now that we see the way the NCAA has allowed the rules to go with the transfer portal, the NIL, a lot of stuff is seemingly more allowed now. You're seeing a lot of things that are happening now that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. Now you see Prime and Fran Brown attempting this. Now, Coach Fred, I got to ask you, based on your experience being a current Division I current Division I coach and currently still coaching, and your experience with this, do you think that the NCAA will allow this or not?
I don't think they will because of the backlash and I don't think they care about backlash, but this backlash would be way too much. And then if they did do it, I mean, so what are you going to do? At that point.
Right.
But I don't think they'll budge on this because if they budge on this, then they've got to start budging on a lot of other things. And then, to go back to your point about coaches have been wanting to do this for years, no doubt about it. But the landscape of college football changed.
Yes.
Back, when guys would really want to do this, so to speak, the years that guys would really want to pursue this, the transfer rules weren't what they are now.
For sure.
If you remember, Bailey, if I went to Florida State and decided that, I didn't want to be here no more, they could put whatever stipulations they wanted in my ability to transfer. No ACC team, no SEC team, no team within whatever state this, and this.
Right.
Now it's not even that. A kid can leave Florida State and go to Miami.
Yeah.
And you have nothing. You have nothing to say about it.
That's true.
So I mean, again, it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right. Absolutely. Personally, I'm with it. I hear where you're coming from, and I think the NCAA has been it's hit and miss with them what they're allowing and not allowing in this day and age. It's crazy to me. I mean, all the stories I know better than anybody, man. All the crazy stuff that is allowed and not allowed. But I think for the benefit of college football, this is how it's going to be. If it's going to be transfer portal, Wild Wild West, NIL, this is how it's going to be. I think you should allow this. I think this would be a benefit. I think this would be a benefit to the game today. I think it's one thing where you're seeing programs like Nebraska cancel their spring games due to tampering versus Colorado and Syracuse election to go this route. If I had to pick between the two, I think this route is 100% better. Now, I hear where you're coming from and where Matt Rule, obviously in Nebraska, are coming from when it comes to tampering. And you raised a great point. Syracuse players, or even vice versa, after this, possibly wanting to transfer to Colorado, right, or whatever. Do you look at that as a super big factor?
I don't. I got to believe that Syracuse and their coaching staff don't as well, which is why they're trying to do this. Mm-hmm. I know Coach Prime doesn't, but again, these two programs may be able to pull it off. And then when you talk about tampering, what is really tampering?
Yeah.
what is really tampering? Because if Syracuse has that guy right now that Texas A&M wants, someone associated with Texas A&M, maybe not employed by, but someone that calls themselves associated with Texas A&M has already got at the kid. They found a way to get to the kid. So if you're calling that tampering, that's okay. That's cool. Maybe it is, but nobody within Texas A&M said anything to the kid, so you can't bring up tampering to them. So that's why I'm like, the tampering thing is just kind of really out the window, because all I got to do is go to the barbershop in so-and-so city and say, hey, anybody know this kid? And somebody in there knows that kid, and then bam, here we go. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, we'll see if how the NCAA responds to Colorado and Syracuse filing paperwork for joint spring practices.
I want to see how quick they get back to them.
That's
normally these things don't just happen in a couple weeks.
Here's what I will say though: how fast do they? When Lanning and Oregon that week, they played Ohio State and Will Howard, the slide rule, and Lanning doing the 12 men on the field, causing what was it? There was some Lanning rule that literally happened like next week. So that's the only thing of the NCAA. I'm like, if they want to ban something, they'll do it quick. But if they don't want to do something, they'll drag their feet. So I could absolutely see that with this, where Prime and Fran Brown are trying to make this happen, and they don't hear from the NCAA till July.
That part. So again, we'll see how serious the NCAA is about it, about making this happen and not making it happen. And I guarantee you we'll know something within next 2 weeks.
I hope, because I'm
if they want it to happen. If they want it
to happen, you'll hear from them. If they don't want it, fuck, we're gonna be talking about this till July.
We'll still be waiting.
Exactly. Well, man, we'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, Colorado and Syracuse filed paperwork with the NCAA to achieve joint practices. So I think it's nonetheless is a historic move, or they're joining the band of trying to make this happen here. We'll see the NCAA being more lenient as they have been in recent time grants it.